Best
Did you
says.
audition? Did you audition? Did you have to cook for them, or was it just a conversation? Because
Like
I
master
No.
like I want to. How do they know you can cook? You can't tell me on paper that you can cook. And we are back. We are back. I think this one we'll call let them cook. Let him cook. You know, like let him cook. Ach! Oh, Tev's been waiting with that one. We didn't even know. For those that are listening, you may have heard a laugh that you're not used to hearing. For those that are watching, you can see a man in the corner of your screen. I don't know how to point which side you'll be, but he's there. We have another special, very, very, very special guest with us today. And as I usually do, I like to introduce our guests with a little bit of a backstory. So, where to start with this guy? So, we've been friends for a real long time. We met in grade 1. We became quite close, I would say, a little bit later, maybe grade 3 or 4-ish is where we started really becoming friends. And then grade 6 and 7, we were real tight. Went to different high schools, so got a little bit separated, but then found each other once again around grade 10, 11, I would say. And post school, we got real close, me and the man himself on screen. But before I tell you his name, I just want to say we walked a long path together. We did a lot of stuff together, good and bad. We know each other, born on the same day as well, which is quite a special thing. And this guy is a very, very unique and very, very special person. And the reason that I say that is because he didn't have the easiest time in high school. There were a lot of difficulties growing up. And to be honest with you, watching him and seeing his growth and everything that I've experienced with him as long as I've known him, he's one of the most resilient people I've ever met, one of the most resourceful people I've ever met, one of the most hardworking people I've ever met. And we were just talking off air how he's really, really shifted and become a trustworthy human being, a trustworthy man, a reliable person. And that is our one and only, let's call him what? Noble Nato? Notable Nato? What are we going with?
I love that. That's okay. It's okay. Just call me Chef Nato. I'm all good, guys. I'm all good.
Yeah.
Ty, thank. That was such a great introduction, and thanks. You actually, it's a lot deeper than I expected it to be. You kind of got me in my feels at the start of this, so thank
Hey,
you.
let's go.
Let's go. But yeah, like Ty said, I've known Ty for more years in my life than I haven't at this
Yeah.
stage. I've known his family from his mom to his dad to everybody. He knows mine, our story, our struggle. We spend holidays together and stuff. So he's a true gent, he's a true brother, and I'm still 45 minutes older than you. Never forget that one. Never forget that one.
Had to drop it in.
Had to. I always do. And Tev, thank you for having me here on this platform. I love what you guys do, and I'm just happy to be here.
Nah, it's really our pleasure, man. Like Tyler said, you are a man of many talents, many accolades, and just to give a bit more backstory and background to the man that you are and the occupation that you do. Can you just tell everyone what you do?
Okay, so I'm currently the head chef of Rain Urban Nest or Alt Cafe, so in Dublin, Ireland.
Nice.
It's Europe's first zero net carbon hotel, so it's kind of a big deal, it's kind of cool. We only
Cool,
opened
man.
about 2 years ago, but that's kind of what I am. I'm a friend, I'm a brother, I'm a son, and I'm a chef. That's how I kind of look at it. I'm a chef last. I'm all of those first, though.
Nice. And the idea to, I guess, settle in Ireland for your occupation, for your life, for what you thought would be the better future. Can you give some context to that? When did you have the idea to move over? Did you think an island? Why Ireland, essentially?
Okay, to answer that question, I kind of have to take it back a little bit.
Let's
If
do
that's
it.
okay. All right. So, there was a time where I was what you would call a stay-at-home son. So I'm going to speak to all the stay-at-home sons there, if you kind of know what that does. I wasn't really contributing too much, but what I always loved was watching MasterChef at 7 o'clock on Mnet for our South African viewers, right? And I would watch that every day as a stay-at-home son, and my dad would come in like, "Yeah, you're really good at this thing. You're really good. Why don't you just try go to the school?" And there's this concept or this the stigma around being a chef in South Africa that it's kind of the easy way out. Like, oh, you're just being a chef. It's not a real profession. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of mindset that I had. I was nervous to undertake that, but through convincing my dad to go to the school, and what happened was when I went to the school, I realized I was actually really good, and I actually really loved what I did, and I excelled for the first time in school setting. I excelled. So I did that for about a year, and then I got an opportunity to go to the United States.
Oh,
All right,
nice.
so I managed to go to the United
Nice.
States to Florida, and I was recruited by one of 65 in the world, a certified master chef, Mr. Daniel
Jeez.
Scannell. Yeah.
Oh, nice,
So
nice.
so yes, we were four South Africans chosen out of a couple of hundred people on the short list, and we ended up going over there, and kind of that's where I want to say my actual journey in terms
Yeah,
of real chefing, in terms of understanding what it means, not just in South Africa, but globally, that there's one language, the chefing language, and no matter where you go, there's still that one language, which is the
yeah,
kitchen.
yeah.
So it started there, and I was out in the States for, you can say, approximately about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, I met somebody, and she was an Irish person, and she kind of convinced me to go to Ireland, and yeah, it's a great opportunity as a chef to go to Europe, and I was like, that is good,
Yeah.
Yeah,
let me go to Europe, and that's what I'm gonna pursue, and that's what we did, I guess. I packed up everything that I
Nice.
knew. I left America, and I went to Dublin,
Mm.
and then about a month later, COVID hit, so we kind of know how that goes, but yeah.
yeah. So you landed in Ireland with your whatever that you were allowed to take on the plane, and obviously
Mhm.
your partner, and
Yes.
COVID hit. So what happened in that time after COVID? How did you make ends meet, and what happened? How did you end up at this as a head chef of this unique, I guess, what did you say, zero carbon emission hotel?
Yeah, so obviously, the experiences that I had in America led me in good stead because I used to work in five-star country clubs.
Okay.
So these are prestigious country clubs around the world, and I worked for a great chef. So when I got to Dublin, it was tough initially because now all the visa offices had closed and everything had kind of shut down. And now you're coming into this country bright-eyed, you're trying to make your way, and
Yeah.
it's just not happening. Hospitality is dead, you
Yeah.
know, and it kind of depressed you because one thing my dad always said to me, being a chef, one thing is people will always need to eat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
regardless of
Mm.
recession, regardless of whatever you got to trade, people are always going to need to eat. You'll always have a job.
Yeah.
So, and this is the one time in their life when you looked at it and you're like, wow, how important actually am I,
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
to everything. But I was, like you said in the intro, I'm relatively very resourceful, and I'm a
A hustler.
talker, I guess. I'm a hustler. Yeah, I'm a hustler. you know. And when I got to the country, I went to some recruiters, and I met a guy who had worked for me, and he was running it as a takeaway. So I was very lucky enough to still have a job. It was never at the level that I'm working at now, but because of COVID, and I'm in a new country, you take whatever
Take what you get.
ends me. Take
Mm.
what you get, you
Yeah.
take what you get. So I ended up working. It's just doing a takeaway here and there for the duration of COVID, which I want to say in Ireland was about a year and a half to 2 years running on, which was
Yeah.
hard, but that's
Yeah.
what we did. And then as soon as COVID ended, everything opened up. I then knew I could use the talents that I had and the experience that I had, and then I ended up working for a Michelin star chef out
Okay.
in Malahide, Oliver Dunn, and I was his sous chef for a while there. And time went on, and I just knew that I wanted to do more because he's a Michelin star chef and I'm not. I work under him, and I
Yeah.
wanted to be him, but I was never going to be him in his
In his
restaurant.
kitchen. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
never going to be him in
Yeah.
his kitchen. So I had to kind of do my research and kind of look around, and through people in contact that I met, they told me they were opening up this hotel, and it's called the Ren. And I didn't know too much about it at the time. And they're like, look, it's a little bit of a unique idea. They want to run a zero waste kitchen. They want to do this whole sustainability thing. And for me, that was incredible and great because I was just thirsty for a new adventure.
Yeah.
And that just said to me, try and go. And I went, and the GM or the owners of the place were, me and them just kind of got along from day one. We had the same visions, we had the same ideas. Everything we spoke about was just in line, and we kind of got the gig. I got the gig, and I've kind of run with it since then. And I think that was the best decision I made in my life ever. Just to
Yes.
say that, yeah.
Oh, that's
So I
quite
don't know
cool,
how
man.
else
That's
to.
really
Mm.
no, that's actually like really, really interesting. I wanted to ask you. So now you are the head chef of this kitchen, right? You.
Yes.
Oh, I like it. Oh, we need to put
Hmm.
that in, Tev. We need to put that in the title. Yeah.
Definitely.
And
Chankuna.
how did it work? Before we get into like all the flexing of you, I just want to ask a question. Did you design the menu at the Ren, or is it something you did with the owners together, or how does it work in that case, like as the head chef?
Yeah, so you do design the menu. All right. So you
Okay.
come in there and they want to know what you're gonna bring. So like this is the ideas that I had, and I had a little bit of experience from different countries and whatever. So that's what we do. We design the menu with the whole idea is the wren. If you guys don't know, it's a bird. It's a little Irish bird. So I
Okay.
created this mission vision that like, okay, this wren bird is kind of me. It's traveled the world and it's kind of picking up a little pieces from everywhere, and it's coming back to the nest,
Nice.
which is Ren Urban's nest, with all these pieces, and it's building the nest with all these
Yeah.
influences. So I try to kind of bring that through. I'm not necessarily just fully Irish or American or my French technique, but I try to bring my African heritage from my mom and my grand, a little bit of Asian techniques that I've learned. So it's kind of a melting pot because we're still a hotel. Everybody from around the world comes. So
Yeah.
yeah, so being a head chef, that's what we do. I created the menu with help with the directors and owners, and yeah, I guess best best
Did you
said.
audition? Did you audition? Did you have to cook for them, or was it just a conversation? Because
Like
it's
No.
like I wanna. How do they know you can cook? You can't tell me on paper that you can cook.
No, it kind of did feel like a little bit of an audition, but that's why I say like I walked in and the GM at the time the hotel hadn't even opened, so you go into this building and it's closed off from outside. So you go down and it's like there's two people working in there, and like my GM there, she's an Australian lady, very cool, 40-oldish lady, right? So we go in there and she's like, okay, what can you offer? And she gave me homework. She just said to
Okay.
me, come back and tell me what you're gonna do for this place. And for her, I think that's how she knew if I came back. And she didn't tell me when to come back. She just said to me, "Come back and show me what you want to do for this place." And I went home and I was just so inspired by everything. And I literally made a whole dossier of
A
ideas and things
thesis,
that
Yeah.
I
yeah.
want to do. Yeah. And I came back within 2 days. And when I came back, she was even so surprised, like, "Wow, you came back. Nobody comes back." And I was like, "Yeah, but this is what I
Yeah.
wanna
Yeah.
bring to this place." And then from that day, she was like, me and you are the same. You get what I'm doing. It's about the hard work. It's about trying new things. No one has the answers because no one has done this yet, but
Yeah.
you're willing
Yes.
to try, and we'll figure this out together. And then that's kind of how it went. And then I guess my CV kind of says I can cook. I mean, I wouldn't been able to travel as much as I
So
did.
so she didn't taste your food. This is my question. She didn't actually chow your food. This is my question.
No,
She's just like,
no. She loved the
Shocked.
oh
pants, I
wow.
guess. She loved the
Sure.
pants, the pants, the pants, She loved the pants. The pants was
That's
enough
crazy. That's crazy to me. I don't
initially.
know.
Yeah. Even in the hospitality world, we go on a trust policy, man. And I think what the fascinating thing and the really great part of your story is that you came in at a time when it was groundbreaking, at a time when it was, I mean, like level pegging, and it took a lot of shared investment, shared vision, and a big
Mm.
buy-in from everyone's part to grow it to the place that it is now. And I've been fortunate to come and see the Ren, and yeah, man,
And
if
stay.
you were to imagine like opulence and something like top billing, it's like that. And now
Mhm.
if you have that as the basis, and then you take on the food, incredible food, from the breakfast to the lunch and the suppers, the layout, the design, and most importantly, the people. I don't think I've had the luxury of meeting such friendly, homely people. I know a lot of people throw that um, idea out there and the term that, oh, it feels like home. But
Yeah, yeah.
honestly, people from the moment that you walk through the doors at the Ren, the people at the reception counter, people that are in the alt bar, it's just so much buy-in from people to treat you like, firstly, a person, which in
Mhm.
Europe is a very something that's quite rare, and
Mhm.
two, just to make it feel welcoming. So I think from the
Mhm.
experience that I've had, yeah, I can't speak highly of the Ren, and maybe that's why it's received so many awards, so many accolades, so much praise. And the one that I had come across was the the SEAI Energy Award in 2022. This is where the Renober Nest and BDP take home the award for energy in buildings at last year's SEAI Energy Awards. Um, do you want to give us a bit more
Yeah,
context
I
into
can
some
give
of
you
the accolades and awards that
a little
you
bit
and the
into it. I'm not the architects, and I didn't build the building, so I have a limited knowledge about all the ins and outs of it, but I do know the moment that happened. So BDP are basically the architects who kind of designed the building. And then we
Yeah.
yeah,
had Alpha and Duggins, who were it goes a lot into who built the building. But with BDP, it was incredible. They show us from the concrete that was used is Irish concrete. Everything is local, and it's got this breathability that it absorbs the heat and stores the heat.
Oh
It's
wow.
got
Okay.
certain things like that. Like when you're in the lobby downstairs, what we like to call the hive, all the heat that's generated from people talking and up and down, that then gets absorbed and helps to warm up your showers,
Oh
sure.
warm up the
wow.
showers that you have in the morning. Yeah, so there's a lot from the way the building's designed, of how it's facing, how the windows are designed to hold the heat in and to reflect it during summer and winter, the differences between that. I mean, the thought process, like I said, I'm not the architect. I can't tell you what stone they used, what brick they used, but I do know. Otherwise, I'd be in that job. But I do know that there was a lot of work that went in even before we came into the picture. That there was this idea of what was supposed to be this place, and they created the best vessel that we can, and they hired us as the best people to carry out that vision. So
Yeah.
we're very proud of the initial investments and idea making of the people to get us to the point we are, because now we can just thrive off this building that they've created.
Yeah.
Exactly. And yourself personally, I know you've also gotten quite a few accolades, awards. You've been in magazines, you've done some TV interviews. You want to just flex on us, man. Tell us
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
Don't be too
Flex on
humble
us,
here.
man. Don't hold
uh,
back.
it kind of took me by surprise myself too. I won't lie, when you first started here, but it just happened. So I think the first one I received was recognition was there's this app called Too Good to Go
Okay.
here in Europe, and I think in some places in the States. And it's basically an app that is kind of designed to reduce food waste from restaurants and hotel facilities. So you there's an app you can go on, and let's say after my breakfast buffet, I have a surplus of food that will then generally go into my waste.
Yeah.
I then create 10 magic mystery boxes and make them online, and then people can purchase them for up to €4. And they can
Okay.
come, they don't know what they're getting, but instead of me throwing food away in the bin, whatever, they come, they purchase it, and we can help people out with that.
Yeah.
So it's a way to minimize your waste, and you can set that for breakfast, for lunch. You can create how many meals you have available for that specific day.
Okay.
And we were
Nice.
fortunate enough in Ireland that they wanted to launch their app at our
Yeah.
restaurant and our
Oh,
hotel,
Okay.
because it tied in. So they came in, RTE News, which is kind of it's a big news agent over here. They came in, they were interviewing us, kind of understanding why we've chosen to partner with them, why we chose to do this. So that was really cool. And that goes in with the sustainability, too.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the start. And then after that, you get a little bit more recognition. More people now are interested. They want to come. They want to see what we do. And then we received, in our first year, we received a McKenna's Award, which is kind of like, it is a prestigious kind of award for contemporary Irish food.
Okay.
So
nice.
so we got what, best in 2022 and 2021. So we
Okay.
received that award, and then we subsequently received another award from the same people for 2022 and 2023. So that was great too, and I couldn't have done it without my team. I want to say that too. Like, I don't do this alone. Like, I have the vision, but everybody executes it.
Okay. Okay.
We have the
Nice.
vision, they execute it, and then now is kind of the creme de la creme of
Uh-huh.
the awards. Yeah, it's the awards. So on Monday the 15th, we've been nominated in the Irish Restaurant Awards 2023, which is the prestigious award show for all of Ireland. This is all Ireland from all the counties, and we were nominated for best sustainable practices.
Okay.
So fingers crossed. Sometimes we're in the middle of city center, and to even be uh, nominated for this type of award in city center where things can get a little bit tough
Yeah.
is just an honor in itself. So hopefully we can come out with that award, but even not, we're going to be there and we'll be representing the Wren Hotel. So yes, let's go.
No, that's amazing, man. So you say you're going to this award on Monday now, coming up, or
Yes, on
okay.
Monday. Yeah, this
All
Monday
right.
coming up. It's black tie. It's going to be cool.
Hey, wishing you all the best. Okay. So now, well,
Thank
we
you,
have some
guys.
questions. We have some follow-up questions
Here
that
we
we
go.
need to ask. So before we get into one of the, I wanted to ask you, as the head chef, you just threw a shout out to your team as a head chef. So I don't have the I haven't been to too many what we would call fine dining establishments, and I'm not so sure if the Wren is necessarily a fine dining establishment at those like hectic Michelin star levels. But I imagine it is quite a nice place. I had a look at the menu and at the restaurants, and it looks really, really cool. But my question is this: the one I went to was in South Africa called Marble with David Higgs, right? He's the chef there, and I was lucky enough. Katya spoiled me to a chef's table where we sat and watched the kitchen happen. And David Higgs, all he did that night was slice steak. I think that's all I saw him do. Now, is that just because he's David Higgs, or as a head chef, do you make the menu and then your guys carry it out and you just kind of even when you watch Hell's Kitchen, right? Gordon Ramsay kind of just plates a few
Reads out
things
the
and he
order.
checks it and he shouts at people and then he passes it out. What exactly is that a true reflection on what it's like being the head chef, or are you more hands in the pot as one would say?
It really depends on in the kitchens that you work, but the sign for David Higgs and Gordon Ramsay, it just shows what good chefs they are, because you're leading. The way I like to look at it, chefs are pirates. We're not normal people. We're dealing with knives. We're dealing with fire, bad working hours, bad social hours. Like the people who come into those kitchens are not generally normal people.
Okay.
And to be a leader of a team of 10 guys, 10 men with this idea who want your job at the same time, who want to be you, but to still inspire them to the point where all you need to do to execute your vision is plate a few dishes, just shows how good and influential you are. Because not all the times do people have the privy to see exactly how you get them to that motivated state. There's many times where they do question you, but when there's an issue happening, you need to be able to get in there, solve it within 2 seconds, and have them look at you and be like, okay, yeah,
you the guy.
That's
why you the guy. That's why you the guy.
He's the head
Because
chef for a reason.
if you don't do that, it's going to be mutiny. They're going to throw me overboard, and someone else is going to take over. I mean, it's really like that, It's you're dealing with guys who want your job and will do anything for your job, but still have to have this hunger for perfection, but to realize your dream as a chef. They almost have to sacrifice their dream to realize your dream. Like I can have, there's many ways to skin a cat, but I want my plate plated this way.
Yes.
You may think as my second in command, it should be done this way. No, but you have to sacrifice that ambition. In order to
make
to
your
follow what I
reality.
want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
But I'm sure you still listen to what your second in command says. Like if he's like, not yo, but he's like, okay, maybe we should plate it like this. I'm sure you're not like, no, you're wrong. I am the head chef. It is like this. Or how much of a back and forth is it?
No, there are moments. I mean, there are moments where you yourself, you can lose creativity, and you almost need your second in command to push you. Otherwise, you just have people who are following orders, and then your creativity dies, and then your ambition dies because you come into work and nobody's challenging you. You almost want to go into work and be like, he gives you this idea, and you want to accept it, but then you want to take it back and take a little bit of it and better it. So it's not to say that I will discard what he said, but I take a little and be like, all right, I get that. Maybe if we can do it like this, like this, like this. So there has to be a little bit of respect and give and take, because if you don't give them a carrot, there's nothing to chase.
Yes, yeah.
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 And for us that don't understand or don't know the depth of people in the kitchen. So what makes up a full kitchen? If you were to do a walkthrough of the different positions in the kitchen. So the people that are delivering the breakfast, the lunch, the supper, how many people comprise of your team? What are the different roles? What does that look like? So you as head chef,
Well,
and then if you filter out the rest.
okay, so I'm going to talk about then my team. Okay, my team is not the biggest team. I've worked in many bigger kitchens, but I still fulfill the necessary roles
Okay.
that all kitchens do. So for me, I think the most important person in my kitchen is my kitchen porter, and a lot of people will think differently. So the kitchen porter, our KP, is the person who who cleans the kitchen, who cleans
Okay.
my forks, cleans my pots, cleans my everything, my plates. If I don't have pots and pans, if I don't have stuff for my guests, I don't have a running kitchen. I need my kitchen to be clean and moving so my chefs can
Yeah.
focus on chefing.
Just, yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, most important person access my deliveries. I then have what you then call your commie chefs, which is your entry level chefs that you have
Okay.
to kind of give guidance, but they're the most kind of the most hungry and the most potential because you can guide them in any which way. They're
Yeah.
really important. So they're always there with the assistance with a senior chef. So we'd have our breakfast chefs in the morning. We'd have two chefs and a KP on, and one commie chef to help around with that for our
Do they
breakfast.
do
So
like the grunt work? Are they chopping onions and peeling potatoes and that kind of
they're
stuff?
putting the delivery. I did that for my first 2 years working in the kitchen. I used to peel onions, but now I don't cry. So you learn the tricks of the trade. They
For
cut their
sure.
fingers every day. They cut
Yeah.
their
Mm.
fingers
Yeah.
every day, but after you cut your finger a certain amount of times, you learn how not
Cut your
to
fingers
cut
again.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's almost like you can almost liken it to the military. Like
Yeah.
you kind of have to be broken in the beginning
Yes.
Mm.
for the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
couple of years. And then if you can get through that grind, you're designed for the kitchen. If that
Yeah.
is too hard for you, you won't handle
You'll know.
the
Yeah.
You'll leave.
It's
You'll
not for
leave.
you.
You won't be.
yeah. It's not for you,
Mm.
because it's not for
Okay.
everybody. That's why I say it's
Yeah.
pirates. We pirates, yeah.
I like that analogy. Okay, so now we've got them. Okay, who's next in the kitchen?
Next I have my your chef de partie. So they'd be the chef de partie would be in charge of their division. So the kitchen's broken up. You got like the saute station, the grill station, and like pantry. So
Yeah.
people who make
Okay.
the salads, people who do the saute would be your fish or your pastas, anything that's in the
Yeah.
pan. And then your grill is your guys who are doing your steaks, your
Yeah.
chicken. They're the
Yeah.
ones who cook it to order. So, but everybody has a role. I mean, if I
Yeah.
get an order with one pasta, one steak, one fish, we
Yes.
all need to work in a
Together.
team,
Mm.
Yeah.
but we opposite each other there,
Yeah.
if you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
So those
Yeah.
chef de parties are in control of their sections. So they
Okay.
make sure that just that department, my pantry department, is stocked. I'm ready for service. This is what I need. I've given chef the orders that I need. I need this. I need this. It's done. So
Yeah.
they're accountable for that. So when I come around on the line, I'm not going to the commie chef because the commie chef is taking orders from
He
the
is
chef de
superior.
partie.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
And go to that person. As long as that's done, that's done. And then after that level, then you get my sous chef.
Yes.
So my sous chef would be my second.
Okay.
So he's my bark. He's probably more online hardworking than I would be
Yeah.
because
Okay.
he's the one who's cracking the whip. I just need to go and look. He's
Yeah.
the one shouting at them on the daily. No, chef doesn't want it like this. We need to do it like this. He's the hungry one who wants to be at my level. I'm more now. It's kind of sad. You kind of have to resign yourself to management now. A lot more
Yeah.
paperwork,
Yeah.
meetings, dealing with suppliers, creatives.
Yes.
But he's the man in the kitchen. He's the bite. He's
Yeah.
the yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And so now you mentioned before that prior to this you worked under a Michelin star chef. Was that in Ireland or was that in America?
That was
In
in
Ireland.
Ireland. As soon as
Okay.
COVID ended, he was the first chef I worked for. Yeah.
Okay. And could you say that there was any notable difference between like a Michelin star kitchen that you worked in as opposed to any other, or is it like kind of just it's the same, just a level up?
Yeah, like I said, I think no matter where you work, from South Africa to India to wherever, there's a certain language within the kitchen that we all understand.
Yeah.
So there's always that base level. But then it comes down to the leadership, like being
Okay.
able to buy into the vision of the chef, and that Michelin star chef, if he wants things in a certain way and he thinks in a certain way, you by design have to think that way. If you can't
Yeah.
think that way, you're not valuable to the team. And
Yeah.
so I want to say, yes, there were some similarities, especially to when I was in America, because I worked for that CMC. But I think the attention to detail and just the obsession for greatness was the difference,
Yes.
Yeah.
if
Okay.
you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
very
that's
Just the
nice.
awesome.
obsession. Mhm.
Yeah, and I actually want to know, like, the restaurant world is always such a fast-paced environment. There's always new things, new trends, new foods, new styles that you're having to keep up with and either make it work or change rapidly. And I want to know, like, from a training perspective or a training point of view, one, for yourself, do you get, I guess, coached or led into a certain um, way of picking out new menu items? So if you're having to do a refresher of menu, say it's a seasonal thing, so from a winter menu to a spring menu, each year I'm assuming that you're having to do something different. Maybe it
Yeah.
isn't necessarily changing the entire menu, but changing bits and pieces here. So is that
Sticking
something
Yeah.
to
that you lead
trends and that kind
yourself?
of stuff.
Exactly. Do you stick to trends? Do you are you steadfast in a certain palette? And then additionally for your staff, like, I think that we see a lot on Master Chefs, on My Kitchen Rules, all of these shows are how one would move from a cook to a chef. So being knife skills, having an understanding of the different styles of food. So French is completely different to, say, how Italians cook. Is this something that is provided to staff at not necessarily just the Ren or all of your previous experience, or is it something that you essentially have to vouch for yourself and say, hi guys, management, I see that this is an up and coming trend. Let's say sushi as an example. Sushi has now hit the market. Everyone's big on
Mhm.
sushi and doing flame doused sushi, like
Yeah.
fiery at Monty as an
Yeah.
example. Now, is it
Sure.
something that you present to management, or is it something that
Yeah.
is genuine conversation?
So you learn quick, kind of, especially when I came to Ireland, you learn quick that you're not at home. There's a certain there's a certain way people do things here, and you kind of also have to adapt to that. And like, yes, we're a restaurant, but I'm also a hotel. And so a lot of what I'm able to execute within what we do has to be focused on that. We're
Okay.
still a hotel. We still have international guests. That not everybody who stays at our hotel is the sustainable, conscious, foodie type person. Some
Yeah.
of them are
Yes.
just corporate people that come in, they just want their steak, they just want their fish and chips, they just want this. So we still need to be able to cater for your general hotel
Public.
guest, your
Yeah.
hotel family thing. So sometimes you learn with your clientele or the market what you can do, what you can't do.
Mm.
And then you get times, because you're a hotel, you get times where you get a little bit of a flair to show off. We have many functions, people who come in, weddings, or um, Irish Women's Magazine for Women's Day. They want to come in and have this elaborate uh, uh, events, and then we get to create great menus with the organizers, and
Yeah.
they're thinking
Yeah.
summer, they're thinking this, and we can tie it into their ideas. So yes, we have to keep it fresh, because as we say, seasons change, things change, the weather changes. New produce comes in, and we would like to keep things local. So some seasons asparagus isn't as fresh or isn't as cheap. You have to try and look for something else. So you look
Yeah.
at what's available and how you can do it. And that, I think, that comes with just experience. And especially with me living in different places, and just understanding that everywhere you go, there's a different base or base level of what you should offer, and
Yeah.
then what you can offer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that. And in terms of the staff and the training, I always say to my staff that I think there's a personal accountability into this too. Like,
Yeah.
this is what I'm creating. This is my vision. You want to learn more and you want to do more. I think that you, as a chef, as an ambitious chef, should take the steps that you need to do to learn more. Come and ask me more questions.
Yeah.
Research a certain more things. Ask me if you can go for this course, and then I can give it to you. But I am not there handing it to you, because it's the military. Like I said, I'm not there to feed your dream and your ambition. I'm there to provide a platform for you to achieve it, but you need to feed it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're wasting everybody's time. I wouldn't be here today if my chefs just gave me everything that I wanted. I needed to prove to them and show them that this is what I want. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like
Yeah.
that. I think that's really cool. And I also just want to say a little ode to you. What I heard you say there about the kitchen porter being the most important person in your kitchen. I think it's a very big indication of your character that is like your level of understanding. It just shows like your humility and your I don't think anybody was expecting that to be the answer. It could have very easily turned into a joke, and you could have been like, "Yeah, the most important person is me," which would have been funny in itself. But the fact that you paid homage to like the kitchen porter and like the basic functionalities of that, I must say it's really really commendable, and I think it shows kind of your awareness of like where you are and the way things are going and what's important as well, like the things that matter. But now I have another question for you. So there's an episode of Friends that I remember watching, and in this particular episode, Rachel is flirting with the doctor, and this particular doctor is a gynecologist. And they're busy talking, and he says to her, "Oh, I broke up with my previous girlfriend. Like it didn't work out." So Rachel asks him, "Oh, why?" And he's like, "Well, let me put it to you this way. You're a waitress, right? And I'm a gynecologist. Is there any time when after a full day of serving coffee, when you get home, that you just feel like, oh, if I see one more cup of coffee?" So my question to you is, when you get home, right? You've had a long day slogging it in the kitchen. It's been a late shift. You spoke earlier about the hours. When you get home, are you making yourself an egg on toast? What kind of pleasure, or how has it influenced your pleasure of cooking for yourself and like for you and your partner? Like, how does that look? Or is it just something that is always with you?
Uh, I'm going to talk for all chefs here, not just myself. I promise you, most chefs, especially when you get to the head level, we don't really cook well for ourselves.
Okay.
Just to be very honest, you'll find a great Michelin star chef. I'm sure even Gordon Ramsay has frozen pizzas in the freezer. It's a lot. It is hard because you're at work all day. You're tasting. You're smelling. You're dealing with food. You're doing this, and you're just behind it. And then to come back home and then be elaborate with it too. And then not just that, but when you're at work, you have all the resources. Like
Yes.
everything I can possibly imagine. Any scenario that comes up, I have it,
Yeah.
When you're at home, you don't necessarily have every tool, every ingredient, every resource that you have available to you. But I will say it has influenced me when I'm trying with my friends, or we're having like our little dinner nights when friends come over and we cook them dinner, or your girl comes over and you're trying to impress somebody. That's when I can chef it up and I can show off just that little bit more. I'll take that extra step and I'll cook something really nice for us then in that moment. But in general, man, I generally be at work and I'll cook something at work, and before I leave, I can say to my sous chef or someone, "Yo, just cook me that. I'm gonna take it home in a box." I mean, it's still great quality, but I'm not trying to come home and be behind the stove and wash the dishes again. No. But we do have our moments. Really depends how you feel,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
nice, man. Yeah, and like for all of those who are either inspiring home chefs, just love to cook, what are like some of your top tips? So if we look at things like life hacks, what are some of the hacks? So you spoke initially about onions. People always cut onions, and you have a trick or a method that I need to cut the onion so I don't tear up. What are like just some general tricks?
General tips. Okay, this one kind of caught me off guard, but I'll try to answer this. Normally with onions, what I know for a fact is that most times people are using a blunt knife. So if you think about this onion is full of like this acidic liquid. So if you're using a blunt knife, it's squirting.
Yes.
As chefs, your secret is your knife is razor sharp. So when you're cutting through that thing, there's less.
I said this. There's
less traction for it to burst and into your eyes. Sometimes you get people who have a spoon in their mouth, or they put the onion in water and they're doing this. I think the easiest thing is to be quick with it. Like a chef, if you're quick, you're not taking 30 minutes to cut an onion. It's fast, it's clean, easy cuts.
Yeah.
slicing that, that's one trick. I think also another thing that people always overlook is that, like, cooking is probably one of the oldest things people have ever done, professions, if you think about it. Like, there's nothing new I can tell
Yeah.
people. Sometimes food is just food, and never overcomplicate it, but cook from the heart. Like, cook the simple stuff that remind you of that take you back to memories. Like,
Mm.
there's a reason why I can eat back home we used to eat like pap and vors with beans, and it sounds so weird, but I can't get that over here. But every time I do make it for myself, I would immediately think of my auntie Susan. It takes me back. Oh,
Yeah.
auntie
Yeah.
Mm.
Susie, it's something like that. Or a braai broodjie. I ate a braai broodjie the other day, and it took me back to with going on holiday with you and your family town.
Wonderlekkers.
Wunderlekkers at the caravan, and like, it's not something that was in my culture, but it takes you back there. And sometimes I think,
Mm.
even as chefs, people try to overcomplicate food. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
food is food. It just needs to taste good, and that's
Yeah.
the first thing. And then you can try to switch it up a little
Elaborate.
bit, but you can
Yeah.
elaborate.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
like for
like
me,
that.
one of my I guess problems in the kitchen is timings. So timings is always a tough thing. Either I'm cooking something in the oven, there's something on the stove top, there's a sauce on the side, and trying to get all of that cohesive, like, and to work perfectly where everything is still hot at the same time. And I think in addition to that, like cooking a steak, how many minutes is the rule of thumb to having a medium steak between having a medium rare? Are there like rule of thumb? Do you just know? Is it something
Yeah,
that comes with
I
experience
I
or?
I kind of just know now, but how you can learn is if you take your hand, right? So if you take your hand and you take this index finger with your thumb, this would be the first one is medium rare. So if you feel the steak, it's medium rare, and then
Okay.
if you put it to the next finger, it gets a little bit harder. Your steak will be
Ah.
medium well, or
Okay.
medium, then medium well, and then the last one will be well done.
Okay.
So if you're
Ah,
pressing down,
sure.
just so that you kind of have like a little bit of a reference to what it should
Yeah.
feel like, because I've got into the stage where I look at the steak and I can just press it to know it's at its
Yes.
optimum temperature. So that's
Sure.
one.
Didn't know that.
one
Didn't know
I
that.
think
That's a handy
so
trick,
there
man.
we go.
Tev is just showing us that you don't have to worry. He can't mutiny you. He's showing us he lacks control and finesse. That's all he's doing
Seemingly,
there.
seemingly, you won't walk the
Multitask.
plank just yet. You're safe. You're safe for now.
Say for
And
now.
is there so you said you've been all around the world. You've experienced different kitchens. You've cooked multiple different foods. Do you have like a particularly like a favorite cuisine that you like to cook?
And
And
the
also
worst.
wait, and I have a follow-up question to that as well. And Tev, you can also answer this. Someone asked me this the other day. And Nato, you're a perfect person to ask this question to. If you had to choose, so you're first gonna answer your favorite cuisine to cook. Then the second question, and Tev, think about your answer. If you had to choose 3 cuisines to eat for the rest of your life, only 3 cuisines, what are those 3 cuisines that you would choose?
Okay, Tev, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll get myself out the way. I'll say
Okay.
Asian. A lot
No,
of
that's
Asian
not a
rep.
cuisine.
That's
Hey,
not a
that's not a
cuisine. It's too
cuisine.
broad. It's like saying
Too-
African.
Okay, so let me say,
You have to say Thai or Japanese or Korean or something more
Yeah.
specific.
I was gonna say Thai, but a lot of people say that Thai food isn't as distinct as Chinese food or Japanese food. There might be
I would
a
disagree,
lot of
obviously, but-
lies, a few lies to that. So, but fine, I'll say Thai food first. Secondly, I'll say Italian, and then third, how would I define? South African has a few different elements in it that make it unique. So I'm gonna say South African. So those are my 3.
That's a
Yeah.
cuisine in itself. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm gonna echo your last one there with the South African one, because you can't look. South Africa is like the melting pot. You got curry, you got Indian there, you got curry, you got a little bit of everything,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's a good one.
And you can't find it everywhere. That's the realization that I came to since moving
No.
out of SA. It's like, these simple pleasures which you think I can just go to the supermarket, get the ingredients, make it. Not a chance.
Can't get Vors here. I haven't had Vors in almost a year. And it's a problem. No one knows that is standing after a nightclub having a booty roll. I mean,
Yo.
come on,
Yo.
guys. You can't beat that. I would like to say Thai too. I've never been to Thailand, but all the other countries that I've been to, there's always been a great version of Thai food, you know,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I just love the flavors of it and the freshness. No matter where you go, it just feels fresh and it feels wholesome. You know, it feels
Yeah.
healthy. That's
Yeah.
really good. American food, we can leave
Can
that
forget.
behind. We can leave that
Oh,
behind. And then thirdly, you know, I've really started to enjoy your kind of your Middle Eastern cuisine, which is kind of weird, but started
Okay.
getting into that, like, you know, kebabs is things that throw into the stove, like your goat meat, you know, stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to pinpoint because I it's my
Y-
job
A little
to,
bit of
mm,
everything. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
mm.
you
Yeah.
know, it's hard to isolate, you know, it's because it changes. I think I change every year and what I like changes every year. So
Yeah.
you're asking me this
Well then,
that's
and
my
then
answer.
instead of asking you like your favorite cuisine to cook, what have you found the most challenging? What's been the most difficult? It could be a dish or a cuisine, something that you like. Because I know like the Japanese, for example, like kind of pride themselves on like this. There's like this fanciness to it, like, you know, like with the puffer fish. Like if you have to cut it in a certain way, you actually apparently need a license
To go.
to cook puffer fish, because if you to prepare it wrong, you can kill your patron if you
Customers.
Customers.
eat it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's also like chicken sushi. Like you get that in Japan, and I just think raw chicken, and I'm like, that's
Sam
salmonella.
and
But
Illa.
yeah, but they pride themselves on like the cleanliness of the chicken, and it's very much like a technique based a cuisine from what I understand. So what would you say has been like the most challenging like cuisine or dish or whatever?
Well, for me, it's definitely going to be like your classic French techniques. You know, the guy I worked for was a certified master chef in America. Uh, he was like a military sergeant. He literally broke us down from day one when we landed off that plane. He killed any dreams and ideas that we had about us doing it our way, and he drilled us in his way. And his way
Mm,
was so perfect. Everything you did had to in French cuisine, the same has to follow a procedure. There's no shortcuts. There's
okay.
certain ways to cut a paysanne potato versus a brunoise. There's certain ways to cut a Dover sole fish or to do this, you know. So I want to say the French technique, because it's so old, and I think it's inherent in everything we do in terms of the a la carte menu from a starter, main, dessert. The fact that we eat three-course menus is French. The techniques that we use, the way we cut onions that we use globally is French. And I just think to master that origin of cooking, you know,
Yeah.
that home of cooking, to get those techniques down to the T, I think is the most challenging thing for any chef. But if you do get those things down, I think you can be great anywhere you go, because those are the fundamentals of food. And as long as you have the fundamentals down, then you can explore and, you know, create. But for me, definitely, you know, French cuisine is not a joke. It's the core of food, in my opinion.
Hmm. Quite
Hmm.
like that.
Okay.
Nice. So Ty,
Uh,
your three cuisines there?
yeah,
Oh, my
this will
three
be right.
cuisines. Oh,
Yeah.
so I obviously I said Thai. Obviously living here in Nato, I think you've perfectly summed it up. It is very, it's got a very fresh, very wholesome, very a very nice flavor. Like it's really, I've really learned a lot about food since I've been here, both as myself, like because I started cooking a lot more since I've been here, but also just eating out a lot more. So yeah, I said Thai, Italian, because I don't know, I just like love the idea of Italian food. And then I actually I didn't say South African, which was a good it's actually a good
Hmm.
shout. But at the time I was trying to have a I was thinking in the terms of like this would be the rest of my life, so I wanted it to be balanced. So I actually said Argentinian because I wanted a very meat based, grill based, and I've been to
There
some
we go.
excellent Argentinian restaurants. So
Yes.
I was like, I wanted some balance, and I know like they do a lot of like proper, I want to say braaiing, but like that's like a
Hmm.
very much a heart of their cuisine. So those were the three that I chose when I answered that question to my friends.
Very
Those are great
nice.
shouts. I won't lie.
Hmm.
That's a great shout.
Nice. Yeah,
The
Nato, I wanted
Argentine.
to ask you, bruh. So
Sure.
Tyler and I have previously talked about um, dishes that we've tried in our respective countries that we've either loved or hated, and we've, I guess, done a poll with the locals who said, "Oh, this is amazing! You have to try fish and chips in the case of the UK. Oh, it's like the best meal
And
ever. We're
mushy
so
peas.
renowned for it. Mushy peas, jellied eel, all of these
Yeah.
strange things. And
I'm sure you had a proper
ultimately,
pie though.
so they say, so they say. But hey, take me to a BP or engine garage. That those
Pie.
are levels,
Yeah.
levels.
Mutton curry pie is a
Can't beat a
different
pieman's,
thing.
man. Come on. So, in your time in Ireland, what's some of the dishes that you've had there that are, I guess, unique to the region that you've either liked, loved, or hated?
Okay. Yo, how can I say this? In Ireland, their cuisine is very tough because they went through what we call the famine.
Yeah,
So there
yeah.
was a large time here where a lot of only they could get was potatoes and grow these potatoes and stuff. So
Mm.
the cuisine has kind of been influenced a lot by different aspects and different people coming in. But the typical Irish things, yeah, I've had this thing. It's called cahill. Cahill. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I hope I'm not. I'm not butchering it. It's kind of like white sausage stew, but it's like an organ sausage stew,
Okay.
which it was weird for me at first to kind of
Okay.
comprehend what it was, but with time and with a little trying, it's not the worst thing. It's pretty interesting. It's something that you could get into. And then secondly, I'd also say pudding. I
Mm.
don't think too many places eat pudding. It's kind of
Yeah.
like a breakfast staple here. So
Okay.
it's
Is
made
that
out of
black
like,
and white?
yeah, this black and white. So the black one is made out of like congealed pork blood,
Yeah.
and they mix it with like oats, different aromatics and spices,
Mm-hmm.
and they harden it to make a sausage. So you'd have that generally with your breakfast items. And then the white one is made out of also organs, so your pancreas, but mixed the same with oats and different seasonings to make that. So that has kind of hit me on the mouth when I first came in. I was like, wow, I thought I'd never, like, how are you gonna eat blood?
Mm.
Like
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
are, yeah, what are you guys doing eating this? But it's actually with time and everything and just open mind, you get to learn why things are important and how good they are. So
Yeah.
that kind of hit me in the mouth. And you,
Okay.
Ty, I'm sure you've had more exotic things in Thailand. I'm pretty sure about that.
Um, well, I actually wanted to say while you were talking, I was just thinking to myself, this is actually one of the most beautiful things about food, and it's just a kind of a revelation that I came to now. And I'm obviously not the first person to have this, but it's so interesting how you can see the history of a country, or it tells us so much about a country when you look at the food that they eat. Like you said, like the due to the famine, how that has influenced the cuisine and the culture so much. And
Mm,
everywhere you go around the world, there's a story to be told. South Africa as a diverse country with a diverse group of people. Look at how diverse our cuisine is.
mm,
Like you said, it's a melting pot. Japan, which is very secluded and was never really colonized, is very, very Japanese and very exclusive, and it reflects in their cuisine. I think it's exceptionally interesting. For me, in terms of like the exotic foods and stuff, when I first came around past Thailand, I ate a scorpion, like a fried
Mm.
scorpion, but that's more of a tourist thing, to be honest with you.
Taste
okay.
wise,
But
did you taste much, or was it just like the taste of
no,
crisp?
it kind of tasted like everyone says when you don't know how something tastes, you say it tastes like chicken. It kind of tasted
Mm.
Mm.
like chicken, like,
But
Okay.
but
was it cooked?
man, yeah, it's deep fried. It's deep fried. So,
Well,
but
not for them to be like mapani worms that are deep fried. It just tastes like crisp.
yeah,
Like,
but I couldn't get my head past the fact that I was chewing on a scorpion. But
mm.
Yeah.
I will say that they have grubs here that they serve as like a drinking snack. So like it's like crickets and like little worms and stuff that are deep fried. And when you're drinking, like traditionally, what Thai people do is they'll have these like crispy. It's just like crispy and salty. Really, that's all it tastes like. So
Do you
that's
remember? Sorry to interrupt. Do you
no, yeah,
remember
no worries.
watching The Lion King when Timon and Pumbaa are
Yeah.
looking up into the sky and they have this platter of grubs and they're like, oh, Timon.
It's exactly the picture I had in
No,
my head
you
now.
just kind of made me think about that. So when you said
Perfect analogy. Perfect
that.
analogy. But same thing here as you, Nato, is also like you don't really imagine yourself eating blood. It's not that big, but there's some soups here that you eat, like noodle soups that uh the most famous one has been they've had this soup for like 50 years that they've just been topping up and recooking and adding more of the ingredients into, and the base of that soup is often blood.
Hmm.
And it's the same thing. Like it makes it very rich and very dense in flavor. And it's the same as you. I never really pictured. It's not really a thing that you think is gonna be. To be honest with you, Katya loves that soup, but she can't move past the mental thing
Aspects of it.
of
And sometimes that
yeah.
happens. There's a block for all of us, but
Mm,
we have to live and learn. No, everybody is from somewhere else, and that's the beauty, I think, of travel and food, is because,
yeah,
as you said, it tells a story, and we all live a different way and a different life. I mean, in South Africa, we've got people who eat crickets,
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
for
fried
sure.
crickets. In Brazil, they eat ants. It's
Yeah.
just part of what it is.
Yeah, here as well. One of the delicacies is ant eggs. They bitter though. I didn't. They're very expensive and they were quite bitter. I didn't enjoy those. And the other thing that I tried, which is also quite unique, is they call them jumping shrimp. So it's like these baby shrimp that you basically, the guy that you buy it from normally is on a motorbike, and next to it he has like a fish tank attached to his motorbike, and
Yes.
there's just live shrimp swimming around, and basically what he does is he just scoops out a bag with all the shrimp in it, and you pour that out into a bowl like a soup, and you add this like green chili sauce into it, which I think the acidity kind of kills them, but not always. And then you like drink them like that, and then like I don't know if it was just in my head, but I swear they were jumping in my stomach. I swear they were jumping in my stomach. That's the feeling that I had.
Thailand
So.
just seems so
That's
unique. I'd
wild.
love to see it, man. Yeah, I need to get out there sometime,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
I
you must,
really
you must,
do.
you must really. I think you'll enjoy the culinary cuisine, and to see how what's super interesting for me is like when you go, like I said, people have like a motorbike, and attached to it they'll have like a cart, and on that cart is everything that they need to create 10 dishes that they live off and sell. So normally it will be
Wow.
like a rice-based person, and all the ingredients are on this motorbike, and for the night they park their motorbike there, and the walk they have their gas, and they cook for you then and there. And I've never had like better fried rice than I've had from a person next to a Honda Wave. It's incredible to see that.
No, I'd
Uh,
love to.
yeah, no, for real. But before we start rounding off back to our wholesome moments, we wanted, if anyone's watching and you have a look at Nato's jersey, you'll have a look, see that we have an opportunity, a unique opportunity here to gang up on Tevin a little bit.
For once.
And I want to ask you, let's do a quick like little summary. We try not to make it go too long, but also it is our show and our episode, so if it goes a bit long, who cares? You and I have been Arsenal fans for as long as I can remember. Both of us, for years and years, we've seen the rise and fall of the mighty Arsenal, and we can all agree this is a unique Arsenal season. And what for me, my favorite thing is that it's not a once-off season. I can guarantee that next season it's not like we're gonna filter away like anyone else. But you tell me, Nato, how have you felt? We haven't spoken at all this season. How have you felt about the season? What has been your highs and lows? Do you like this thing of calling us bottle jobs? Where you at? What's your feelings?
you, you, you know, it was a hard season for me to watch. I won't even lie. It was hard to sit and watch and enjoy
It's emotional,
all
yeah.
the games. Yeah, it's actually it takes a lot out of me to sit
Yeah,
there and
same.
watch an Arsenal game. But I want to say it. Everyone says enjoy the ride, enjoy the ride, and the longer we were top of the table, the more I think anxious I got with each
Same.
game. Like, so I couldn't even enjoy it at that stage. Like, just enjoy it while we top, and it was really difficult to do that. And now that we've kind of dropped back to what I would say would be second, and we probably won't win the league this year.
Yeah.
But I can look back at the year and the year before with a little bit of hindsight and perspective, and
Yeah.
I can just say, I'm proud of the season that the boys had, because we started with no expectation
Yeah.
to pushing one of the best teams in world football.
To the end. We pushed them
To the end, and not just that, but still playing a unique brand of football along the way and giving opportunity to homegrown Arsenal
Yeah.
players, which bodes well for us, because like I said, this is not a one-off thing, because you can look at the likes of, your Martinelli, Smith-Rowes, your Sakas, Edin Nketiahs. These are Arsenal boys, and they're re-signing contracts, they're invested, and it just
Yeah.
shows that we've got a base to move on to. So it's exciting looking forward, but the way I look at it is like, I don't know next year if we'd be in a position again at Christmas being 8 to 11 points ahead. So it's just kind of getting through that mental hurdle, that next
Yeah.
step. So,
Yeah.
it's still going to be tough watches, but I support the boys all the way. So I don't know how you
I
Nice.
mean,
feel about it.
we have to believe that. I don't think this. Everyone's saying that because the other teams were so weak, this was such a unique opportunity for Arsenal. But I kind of disagree with that. I really strongly disagree with that. I think there has been, although your top four has not, your traditional top four hasn't been as strong. I think all the opposition has been a lot stronger than most other seasons. Like,
Mhm.
I don't think it's ever been so. If you look at between, like, let's say 20th to 11 or even up to like
Mm.
ninth, it's so close as well, which just shows you the quality of what the Premier League is about. And to say, oh, Arsenal only did it because Chelsea wasn't there or Liverpool, I strongly disagree with that. I don't think it's fair to say that, you know. But I agree, it's been stressful, difficult to enjoy the moment. And since we kind of those three games that everyone will all talk about is the Liverpool, West Ham, Southampton,
Southampton.
those three games really cost us. But since after City, and City outclassed us, I'll say that hand on heart, they were much better than we were. And Tevin was at the game, bastard.
I feel bad for Lisa at that time.
Yeah. But
Double agent
since
here.
that moment, I even when I watched the Chelsea game, who do we play? Oh, first we played Leeds, I think after City, and it really, I won't say it obviously wasn't nice to have dropped the ball, but it was nice to watch, and you could see the players were playing with less stress.
Yeah,
And it was more enjoyable for me in that, I'll be honest with you, that moment, and then watching us beat Chelsea and the performance against Newcastle, they were
was
it was
beautiful.
enjoyable again. But I do think next season, we we'll play, like, we'll be there again, maybe not as clear ahead, but I think you draw on the experiences that you go through, much like you as a chef, me as a teacher, Tev in the marketing world. You draw on those experiences, and these guys, these elite athletes, that's what they'll do. They'll draw
And
on
we've
being in
seen
this.
the growth. We've seen
Yeah,
the growth under
from last
Arteta and how
year.
much they've
Yeah,
grown. Yeah.
yeah. And do you have your top player of the season, one or two?
You know, I love Martin Odegaard.
Yeah,
My captain. You know, I love him, and I think he's the obvious choice. But I have a soft spot for Saka because
my
Saka's
star
been
boy.
with us. He's our star boy, and he's been with us through Unai Emery and Lundberg and into this moment. And for a lot of times before he had other people around us, he carried us. And so for him to still be the first player into double digits with goals and assists for the season at the young age that he is, I
Yeah,
just think that he's definitely one for the future, and he's somebody that I can look proud on and say
he's our
Your
that's our
boy.
boy.
hairline boy. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
So, but Martin Odegaard, I have to give it up. Captain, my captain. He's been I think the catalyst, him and Partey, for everything that's been good this season. I
Yeah,
think they've
yeah.
been behind it all. So yeah,
And
Similar
captain on the field,
shot for
I
you,
really feel.
Tyler?
What's
Similar
that?
shot for you, player of the season?
Yeah,
Or do you
yeah,
want
yeah.
to keep
I
in
think
this
I love
conversation?
Bukayo Saka. Martinelli as well. He's been a pleasure to watch. But obviously watching Big Bill Saliba, the Rolls Royce
Aish,
of defenders. He's so clean. Ben White has had an incredible season. I've
Benny
thoroughly enjoyed
Blanco.
him. Hey, Benny Blanco, Mr. Steal Your Girl, lock
Hey
up your girl.
boy.
Hey,
Mr.
man,
Love
that
Island.
guy's. Hey, Mr. Love Island, he's too suave. But the whole team, there's just so much to like about it, man. Like from Ramsdale right through the 11. There's just so much to like and so much clever business that's been going on. And then, like, I really, really, I actually wrote this whole long blog about like why it's such a pleasure to be an Arsenal fan. And this is not a dig at you, Tev, but I mean, like, honestly, when I look at Arsenal from all angles and all perspectives, and I think it's similar with being a Liverpool fan. Actually, there's actually nothing to be ashamed of. There's only pride in supporting my team. We don't have to hide behind our 153 counts of whatever that's there. And this
No,
is just me. This is just my feeling. And it's
Mm.
been such an awesome season because I just love how easy it is to be proud. And you see the work that they're doing with these Syrian refugees. They've got a huge, big project. There's just so much. I look at my team and I'm like, there's no
You're proud.
angle you can attack me
you
from
can't.
that I feel ashamed of
And not
anything. There's nothing.
to add on that, and I'm not to attack you more, Teva, but just even a continuity within, Arsenal football. We've always been a classy club. We've always tried to do things the right way.
The right way.
We always try to do things the right way. Always try to play football the right way. We went years where we had the Nielsen's, Shamak, Bentners, Scolacci's in our team.
Juru.
Yeah, but we still played beautiful football. We still try to keep that. And, with even just how giving a manager like Mikel Arteta, a young manager, unproven, the opportunity to and the time to to imprint his philosophy into the team, which was greatly influenced by Arsene Wenger and the culture of what Arsenal is. It just bodes to the success I think we're witnessing now, because there's this continuity of style, vision, and culture. I think that's the most important thing that I think within, and so
Yeah.
I'm just proud of my team because of that. I can go down proud to all my friends and say, yeah, even back in those days, I was still talking nonsense about my team, but at least now I can say,
Yeah, so, and it's a
doing
question
well,
actually I asked Tyler, and I actually want to ask you the same question. So Tyler alluded to like bottle jobs. Is this season a failure? All of that aside, we obviously in football they say silverware is what counts at the end. But given the progress that Arsenal have made, both as a team, both I think what really bodes well for Arsenal, not just this season but next season and seasons to come, is the mental aspect of it. I think a lot of the time people are so focused on
Princess
the
of the
end goal
moment.
that they aren't very conscious of the process. And to come back in games where you pretty much dead and buried, just come back and at the very least get a draw, if not go on to win the game. It's incredible for such a young squad. So I wanted to find out from you, if you finish the season second, right? Is it a failure for you for the season? Or is it still seen as, because previously, before the season started, all talk was just getting back into Champions League. Winning the league wasn't a consideration. So I want to find out, is that the same position that you're in? The mindset that, look, objective is achieved here. I wanted to get into Champions League. I'm there now. The winning the title was just the icing on the cake. Or is it seen as, wow, we were ahead for so long in the season, to lose it now does feel like a bit of a letdown.
Can I take it quick, Ty?
Yeah, you do it. It's you.
No, so, for me, it's funny how narratives are so subjective in that sense, because at the beginning of the season, that this conversation wasn't even a good question.
Yeah.
Would this be a failure? I mean, so for us as Arsenal fans who've been supporting this team forever, as true Arsenal fans, this is a successful season, because we came into the season not even hoping to get top four, getting back into the Champions League, and then pushing on from there,
Yeah.
But it's funny how it just shows how far we've come. If now the narrative has switched to now, is it a failure for Arsenal to have finished second? For me, it's actually a crazy thing to compare it to, because you're looking at a team that's Manchester City. It's like looking at Liverpool. Over the past 5 years, Liverpool won the league once.
Yeah.
During a COVID year. Does that then make Klopp's time there a failure? No. Like, you're going against this juggernaut of a team and you're getting plus 90 points every season. It has to be looked at as Arsenal fans as a positive, as a building block to where we're going next year. We've seen the emergence of young players. We've seen the emergence of Saliba, Saka, Martinelli, the importance of Gabriel, the identity, the Ben White playing at right back. It's been a revelation. Who would have seen that coming? So there's a lot of things within the club to be positive and happy about. And to finishing second to Manchester City and still getting, which I presume would be just shy of 90 or 90 points, is an excellent season. I think it'll be Arsenal's highest points tally in history.
It will equal Invincibles if we get 90.
No, that's the right answer,
you
man.
know.
'Cause like I was saying to Ty, if you take Manchester United season into context, so if they went on to win the FA Cup, they'd say it's a brilliant season. Even if they finish outside of Champions League and they're playing Europa again, but because they've won 2 titles. But I think a lot of cup competitions are luck-based, more often than not.
It's who you
need
get
a bit of
and who
fortune,
you
you
play
need a
and-
bit of luck, who you drawn against.
It's
Just
important for
small
them though
margins in
too,
the game there.
because it's Ten Hag's first season. Like Arsenal, kept
We won the
Arteta
FA
and we
Cup.
built on because we won the FA Cup. And for us, it was an important season, and that's the basis that Arteta did to build us to where we are today. So for United fans, I can understand why they would say that this is a successful season for themselves.
I think United bottling the top four is, I think, worse than Arsenal bottling. Bottling top four in this scenario is worse than Arsenal bottling the league to City because, and I hate the word bottle, but losing the league to City, because if you look at who City is and
Yeah.
Haaland coming in and everything he's done, but to bottle top four now, I think will be really bad for United. Like, honestly, if you ask me. But Tev, do you have any defense that you need to say in Man City's favor, other than we know how good they are, but all these things that we're saying?
I'll bring
How
it
does it
back
feel as a fan?
to fighting the established hierarchy. It's always this exclusive boys' club, especially in Premier League football. It's Arsenal, it's Chelsea, it's Liverpool, it's United. And I think there's been such a big emphasis on having that establishment remain that establishment, which is why, and I think you and I spoke about this in, I'm not sure which episode it was, but when you talk about investment and a lot more, I guess, trying to balance the scale. So obviously for City, it's been a really exponential growth in a very short space of time. When you're looking at the established top four, it was years of big budgets, big names, lots of backing. A lot of these things played in their favor to establish themselves and keep them established as top fours, hierarchies. You playing in Champions League, all of these things, sponsorship deals, whatnot. But there was a lot of investment consistently for a long time. Whereas now we're seeing a lot more, I think, investment, both flexibility in terms of the kind of owners you get, far and wide. So it's not necessarily just English, it's American, it's Saudi, it's whatever it is. And I think, look, maybe that's my defense as a City fan, is that yes, there are allegations here, and it must be caught, but must be
Allegations.
caught. Guilty, innocent until proven guilty. But
Okay.
I think this is the time and the period, our lifetime, is the time when you'll see the established four being challenged greatly, where
Yeah.
the top four becomes a top six, top eight, of where, from a power point of view, it somehow moves towards a bit of a balance. So you
Yeah.
aren't
Yeah.
always given the luxury. Like City spending isn't going to continue on forever. We're seeing more and more investment into clubs. So I'll take Newcastle as this season. Let's say we run that on for 5 seasons. In the next 10 years, we have, what did I say, Brighton. Brighton
Everton's
become a
next.
super club or a big club that get gang investment. Now we're suddenly sitting with guys like, who's a very young player. Let's say
Musiala.
Manu.
Wanyeri.
There we go. Is going for 250 million bought by Brighton, because now Brighton have these massive investors from the US or whatever it is. But I think this hierarchy and this, I guess, exclusive club that all the established, the big top four clubs historically have had, this is the time in our lifetime that you'll see this big balance out.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I think.
So-
I think.
And all of this started as glory hunting, obviously. If you look at
Ring
why you
chasing.
became Arsenal fans, or your parents became Arsenal fans, or Liverpool, United, Real Madrid, Barcelona, everyone that supports a top team was because you win things. Obviously, for Arsenal, it's also the fact that you play great football.
Mhm.
But if Henry wasn't there, if Burkamp wasn't there, if you weren't winning things, if you weren't the Invincibles, let's say
Henry
you
was my guy. Henry was my influencer. You're
let's
right.
say you
Yeah, me
were
too.
who's someone that hasn't won in like forever. Let's say
Spurs.
you
Everton. Spurs. I love that. I love that. I don't know
But
why.
honestly, but you get what I'm saying.
Everton
Like,
or one of those kinds of clubs, yeah.
So in like 50 years' time, when let's say City is now playing in either the Premier League, or what if you've dropped down into League One? It's because there will be a new established team that is winning consistently, and you'll have more and more of the youth then buying into these clubs. And
Yeah.
that's just the period that we're in. Like,
No,
But history
fair.
okay,
still
this is that.
remains, though. History still remains. Newcastle will always be a big club. Uh, Nottingham Forest, even now that they've come up, there's still an idea that they're still a big club. Leeds United, everybody understands what they mean for the Premier League. So I still also do believe that there is a historic understanding about the teams that created the Premier League for what it is. There's
Yeah.
those fan
Mm.
bases. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I think you guys are getting there. You're changing the idea. You're getting a lot more English
Like,
players in. Jack Grealish, these type of players that you're getting in are trying to change the mindset of what Manchester City is and represents, you know?
everyone has their time under the sun, and City isn't going to be the dominant force for years to come. It's not going to happen. We saw that with Liverpool. We saw that with Arsenal. We saw that with
Chelsea.
United. There's going to be a massive fall off, and we're going to have a
True.
new
Well, yeah,
established order, or whatever you want to call it in football. And this is just
every squad
time in
goes
the
through
sun
like
for City
these.
right now.
Well, yeah, squads go through these phases, and it's like, look at Liverpool. They didn't plan the rebuild, and that's what cost them this season, is that they weren't ready for the rebuild. But just before we wrap up, I do want to say, though, I heard an interesting fact yesterday that in terms of money, people say, oh yeah, okay. Just to give you a perspective on the difference of City spending, and not just buying players, the difference in the wage bill between Arsenal and City is the equivalent of having 12 players on £200,000 a week. That's the difference in our wage bills between Arsenal and City. So for people that think, oh no, they're not spending that much, people forget, like that is
But
exceptional. And it's not to say
comes with the
that you
territory,
have,
though.
well, it's not to say that you have 12 players that are on 200k or more, but that is the difference when you're talking. And now Arsenal has to find, and if I would trust anyone, it's going to be Arteta to come up with innovative ways to overcome that, because we're going to have to, because we can't sign 12 players and give them 200k a week. We just can't. Our wage structure doesn't allow for it. So yeah, no, it is going to be an interesting time, I think. But I think this might be a good, neat little spot to round off the episode.
Yeah.
Nato, it was really, really special having you, man. Honestly, one of the greatest times I've had recording with a guest. So thank you so much for joining us. We are definitely going to bring you on again. Yeah, we really appreciate you taking out the time, man. Like, really, really, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I know our listeners will enjoy it too. So big ups and thank you, and keep fighting the good fight, man. I can't tell you how proud I am to have you as one of my, like with gents, you don't always talk as much, but when you do, it's like it was just yesterday. That's how it felt today when we were talking. And I feel so proud to have you as a friend, to look at like everything that you've done, everything that you've achieved. It's like, like when you have that one friend that you tell everyone about, like, yo, my friend's a head chef, and not just that, he's like the sustainable, forward thinking, and really, really honest, so proud and so honored. So thank you so much for joining us. Really, really was a special one, man.
Thank you for having me, guys. I want to just say it out there. Like, I always been a fan about what you guys do here, and just even the fact that you guys do this and are able to bring me on here to share my words, it really means a lot to me. We have our history together, and it just felt good to be here and to share a little bit of the knowledge and just have a good time. Just felt like I was talking with the gents, and the people who know will know. So big ups to all those people, if you know what I mean. So yeah, and Tev, thank you too, man. Thank you for organizing the whole thing and even taking the time out. Tev's taken the time out since he's been in the UK. He's come around to visit, I think, on 2 or 3 occasions. I think he's been here more than I've actually seen him, if that even makes sense. He sends me random texts saying, I'm in your hotel, I'm off. I'm like, I don't know. So even that, all the support, man, it means a lot to me, man. And hopefully, Tyler, if you have time in the future, you come out here and we'll welcome and host you here too, man. I look forward to that,
sounds
guys.
Good, man.
Yeah, man, just to echo those thoughts, we're really proud of you, man. You're really doing so much. You've achieved a lot in a very short space of time, and we just look forward to your continued growth and accolades that just keep coming and coming. Keep doing it, man. Keep flying that flag high. Everyone, you know where to find us. All our links are down below, and we'll see you at the next one. We have a very exciting idea with Nato, actually. We'll chat a bit more about that and let you guys be a part of that. But thank you again for being a part of this, and see you at the next one. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.